Hello, so this topic, next chapter is on the type of research. So as a beginner in research, we need to know these basic four types of research before we proceed to the more specific that you're going to write as your research proposal this semester. Okay, there are four types of research which are analytical, descriptive, experimental, and qualitative. Okay, we're going to introduce you to one by one, right? So analytical research. From the terms analytical research, we can simply assume that it is will involve analysis in more specific or more detailed way. So it is actually an in-depth study and evaluation of available information in an attempt to explain phenomena. Right? The example will be the first, historical. Okay, historical research focus on events, organization, institution, and people. This type of research is rarely done by us, especially we are beginner, undergraduate, but it is exists in the organization such as UiTM. Okay, before UiTM started, we start with the college restart, okay, and then we progress becoming an institute, ITM, and then within the year 2000 plus, and then we are granted the university level of institution. Now we call UiTM. From that, those who are writing a story or history about the progression of UiTM, they write a historical research. The same goes to Malaysia. Before we combine the three prominent negeri in Malaysia, Tanah Melayu, Singapore, and then not really Singapore again, Sarawak, Sabah, now becoming Malaysia. The historian, they write research on historical how this thing happens. So it is part of analytical research. And second one will be philosophic research. It involves critical inquiry. Okay, meaning that the inquiry that they establishes hypothesis, examine and analyze fact. This is actually usually involved with the problem dealing with objective, curricular, course content, requirement and methodology. They can be resolved only through philosophic method of problem solving. For example, those Kementerian Pendidikan, they're always dealing with philosophic research because they want to create a new cohort, from KBKK to KBAT. Now is STEM, if during our time KBSR, KBSM, that's part of the curricular of Kementerian Pendidikan, Kementerian Pelajaran Malaysia in the previous years. So these people, the authorities, they need to conduct philosophic research in order for them to come with the course content. It's not simply all in flick of a hand to create a course content like that. The same goes to university. We do a very detailed critical inquiry to see that either the curricular content or course content is useful and effective to build a new era of students, new era of generation, so that we meet the industry demand. Okay, right. The third one will be review research. Okay. This type of research is a critical evaluation of recent research on a particular topic. Okay, I would love to share with you the current one. I'm one of them. We are writing the strategy of to prevent obesity in Malaysia form. It is updated once in 5 years, and it upcoming release into 2021. So we review a lot on the previous studies, many studies in the world on the how to prevent obesity. All the writers will read and then we write again. So mean that we read and we review. After we write, when we review, we write again, something like that. So it is part of analytical research. Okay, this being conducted with those who have the knowledge about that topic. Have you come across to ACSM position stand, American College Sport Medicine? Something refer to the suggestion of on how to prevent the adult osteoporosis. How to prevent losses of fitness among the elders and among the athletes themselves. So the reviews from the knowledgeable authors, they came out and they write again. This is need a very detailed reading because a lot of literatures need to be read. Okay, the fourth type will be research synthesis. Namanya research synthesis, one of the analytical research. It is somewhat similar to the reviews. Reviewing the literature, large number of studies to be synthesized, and what they do, what the author do, the writer, they determine common underlying findings. What's the similar findings of the all of the studies, the journals and they jumpa tu? What are the common findings and what there are agreement and disagreement? They write again. So for example, physical activity literature. So if last time if you really tracking down or joining the readings on physical activity, they suggest to have 3 days per week to minimize the cardiovascular disease, the non-communicable disease. However, it is now shifted to 5 days per week of moderate intensity. They says it's not effective of the 3 days. We need to have more and more to be physically active so that we can prevent the communicable disease. And then now I think they are progressing to say that every day of physical activity, 7 hari seminggu instead of 3, instead of 5 days. So this recent findings is based on the research synthesis. We see what's the common findings of the previous study, and we agree to that, we disagree to that. So the authors are coming out with this writing, a detailed writing. Okay, right? So that are the subtypes of analytical research. And we shift to the second types, the big types, descriptive research. This is somewhat common among you, and some of you are doing it. And the most prevalent technique is survey. Have you heard about survey? The source day coming to you, the WhatsApp, Google form. That is part of survey research. It is descriptive, under descriptive research. The method will be the technique using survey. Distribute in a huge scale of population to target hundreds, 400, 500 participants or respondents. So there are two types of survey technique. Subtypes lagi. Technique prominent is survey. The subtypes of technique survey research is one, questionnaire. Now the questionnaire comes in. Second one will be interview. If the questionnaire is somewhat like very feasible, they obtain responses from people. They get the opinion or knowledge. They want to get information about what's the practice they do, and then what's the condition of the population, what's the opinion towards something. Itu by doing questionnaire. Eda ambil, oh itu, that's your opinion. Second one, doing interview. Okay, interview one-on-one, me and you. Okay, same technique, but the researcher asking question to the respondent. And the advantage of this, they can refresh the question, because in the questionnaire kan, ada question kan, when we read cerobot tidak berguna, then we try to make the respondents to understand. This is just happened recently when I went to Subuyao. The people there, they don't know English, they don't know BM, sometimes they only know bahasa Malay Sarawak atau only bahasa Iban. So the researcher itself, me myself, one of them, we refresh the question, even though the question is very, academic statement. It says that I would love to involve in pelancongan. How do we say to the locals? So we refresh the question to help them to answer it, even though it is a Likert scale 1 hingga 5. We help them. So it's to secure the valid information, to secure the valid answer. So interview with doing it, even though it is a survey. Tapi it takes time, and it takes a lot of researcher ataupun pembantu dia lah to target a lot of people at one time, right? That is descriptive. And the third one will be normative. Normative is somewhat, I would like to introduce you. If you during your school years, have you been joining SEGA, Standard Kecergasan Fizikal Kebangsaan? Your PE teachers conducting some fitness test to you, the step test, flexibility. That is one of SEGA. It seeks to gather performance or knowledge data from large sample of population and present results in the form to compare the standard of norms. Meaning that the more students, school children aged 6 to 12, they execute SEGA, and then the teachers will get the data, then see, what is the fitness level of Malaysian school children among Malaysian. So the authors ataupun the academician, researcher, scientists, they will present the results in academic way. So more, and then the results can be referred to. Where is the fitness level of Malaysian? So if it is an Americano, they call it AAHPR. It is the normative survey to see the range. I'm not sure the range of the fitness of American and Malaysian is the same, but we can always compare and we see the norms. Maybe they are fitter in some fitness, maybe we are fitter in some fitness. We don't know, but yeah, that's the purpose of it, to see to gather performance and knowledge and from the large sample. Okay, right. There are other techniques of descriptive research. The case study, maybe in the hospital. This is clinical case study. One patient, they monitor, they ask the question. Sometimes the houseman, they ask question for their paperwork on those who are baru lepas surgery, after the delivery baby. It's a case study. It's very hard to, but it's still a descriptive research because they're doing the interview. They ask some questions for that to meet the objective of the study. Job analysis, if it is in the HR human resource study. Observational research, sometimes in the educational, observing the students, how they interact, ataupun those students yang put in the first line of the class, can they receive well the input compared to the backbenchers. Kalau dulu backbenchers tu macam notice sikit kan. That is the observational research among the teachers, school teachers, because if it is conduct survey, dia macam tak faham apa kan, cannot answer question, nak interview pun belum tentu dia jawab dengan betul. So this population is better to be conducted on the observational research. The teachers ataupun the researcher observe dia punya subject lah, how they react, how they respond towards things, right? Another one will be developmental study, interaction. It is interaction or learning of performance with maturation. This is somewhat like very detailed one because it starts with the very young age to the older age. It is called longitudinal method. They use longitudinal method because it's long duration. It's not one year. Maybe it's not 6 months. It's more than that. To see progress of the participants. Dari dulu using English from year 1 dari 1 sampai darjah 6. Guna English kan in the subjects. Remember the curriculum. Then we PSR they see. Letak subject science all the way until form 5, let's see. This is part of the longitudinal method. So it is to see if it is good progress, then we continue the curricular course content, something like that. So yeah, and then another one would be correlational study. It is our relationship, to see the relationship. For example, here we want to see the performance variables, heart rate and RPE, anxiety and pain tolerance. This is an example of attitude and behavior. So if anxiety high, does the pain tolerance high ataupun low? The only ratio nak tengok if it is greater in this, is it lower or higher in the another variable. Okay, it's very frequently conducted in our field of study, right? One more is epidemiologic research. Dengan nama pun macam kulit akademis kan? No, it is a studying problems with health, fitness and safety concern. It is pertain to the frequency and distribution of health and disease among various population. Give you example, easy. Those who KKM doing the mental health issue nowadays, they say is number 1 instead of number 3 last time. So they are doing that epidemiologic research. They study on the health, fitness. And then another one I saw few weeks ago, program cegah bantut. You know what is the children tidak membesar ikut sepatutnya. It's based on research they conduct. Banyak masalah itu sekarang ni. And then many the health issue nowadays. If we talk about sports, yes we have it. Epidemiology research more is fitness, not really sports, but it is called epidemiology research if it is involving health, fitness and safety. Okay, and WHO is doing that back and forth. Every 2 years they update it, every 3 years they update it. Okay, right. So yeah, this is very familiar among us, sports scientists. Experimental research. Okay, it involves manipulation of treatments in an attempt to establish cause and effect relationship. I repeat, cause and effect. Cause and effect. So meaning that they're giving something to see, does it affect the results later on? Does it affect the fitness maybe later on? So we have to see the cause. This is experimental research. The researcher attempt to control all factors except the experimental variable. That they are giving the independent variables, meaning that they are giving that treatment, and then they see, okay, what's the outcome of that, what's the effect of that. I give you an example here. The IV will be coconut drink, and then aerobic fitness will be the dependent variable. Okay, DV, what we want to measure will call DV. What we want to see the improvement ataupun effect will be called DV. Alright, we have to be very familiar with it because we're going to use it back and forth throughout the research proposal and research writing later on. Okay, what's the IV? Is what you control, what you give. It's experimental. What you want to measure is the DV, what you want to see the progress on. See, right? Let's have a look here. Resistance training for 6 weeks, high volume. What is that? It is IV, independent variable. The researcher want to see the improvement in the size, the muscle hypertrophy. So it is the dependent variable. Maybe either is huge increase in size ataupun the size will be stagnant. Itu yang kita tidak tahu. We want to measure that. So the IV will be resistance training. Okay. The fourth type, yes, qualitative research. Somewhat not familiar to us, but people are doing it. It is subjective, phenomenological, participants observational. Very subjective, no numbers involved, but it is involving systematic inquiry. They ask question in systematic way because it debates in certain dimension. No hypothesis, no rejecting, accepting hypothesis, but they use research question to guide the study. They observe, they see. Okay, this is very subjective. Maybe I observe different way as compared to you. But however, the researcher are doing it qualitative. Not all study can be quantified. Then they use qualitative. They observe the culture, they observe the painting, they observe the people's opinion, they observe the kids, the umur muda, very young, so they're not relying to any quantitative method, so they see, oh, okay, right. So they exist, but not really familiar to us, but it still have. Okay, so research process, what should we start on? Start with problem, and then we decide what to be hypothesized, research question, what's the operational definition, operational term they're going to use, and then what's the method, how to analyze it, and how to interpret the results, and then to discuss and back, is it according to the objective of the study, our research hypothesis that we declare in the first stage of the research after problem statement. Okay, I think that's all for the simple one. The type of research, the 4. Before we proceed to more specific and explicit one. Okay, thank you. All right.